not just limiting ourselves to the 3-game winning streak, but kind of looking at the 9 games the Kings have played as a whole. I think one of the big storylines this season is Keegan Murray's development, but more specifically as a defender. And I think everybody knows where we're going with this. What he did against Steph Curry, was that 2 weeks ago now?
It must have
I think
been,
exactly. Yeah, 2 weeks ago. And then what he did against Donovan Mitchell on Monday night, 7 of 21, and guarded him most of the time. And just used his length to bother him. And he's just looked great. I think we talked before training camp even started. I think it might have been during the summer. We were talking about, can Keegan Murray make that jump to being like a two-way impact player? And we were like, yeah, maybe by the end of the season. But here we go. Keegan Murray again, defying expectations.
Yep.
And adjusting on the fly. And I mean, even as just an option or throwing a different look at a guy, he's just an exceptional option at that. And I know they asked De'Aaron Fox about it after the game on Monday because Fox and Murray worked out so much this summer. And, Fox was like, yeah, his movement has been so much better this season. His lateral quickness, his body fluidity is just better. And Mike Brown talked about having to play one-on-one against, De'Aaron Fox all summer. So you're guarding De'Aaron Fox all the time. It just seems like that has really paid off for Murray. And Mike Brown also added that, the big thing Murray did this offseason was put on more muscle. And Brown reminded us that allows you to take that hit on the chest without falling back. And when they played the Warriors, he was noting how Steph Curry is like a pro at kind of giving a push to his defender before he takes off in another direction. And one of the biggest things you have to do when you're guarding Curry is not give in to that push. You have to be able to fight through it and go and just get that first step going wherever he's going. And Murray handled that pretty decently. And, you get a guy like Donovan Mitchell who's going to kind of bump up against you and try to get his shot up. Sometimes, I mean, he's one of the best scorers in the league. He's always looking to get his shot up. That just works wonders as well. So the length, the strength, the movement, it's all coming together for him. I don't know if he could do that every night. That might be kind of a question to consider. But like once or twice a week, when the matchup really calls for it, when you kind of have a perimeter player that's the opposing team's top scorer, yeah, put Murray on him because it seems to be working.
To note with that too is we knew, and we kind of had this conversation last week. It's like, well, man, are the Kings putting too much effort on defense? Does that take away from their offense? And, it looked like it was affecting Keegan because you could tell he was guarding, Steph Curry and the opposing team's best player when he could, and at least on the perimeter. But he was not shooting the ball well to start the season. But then last 2 games, 20 points each game plus. Hit 5 threes the other night against Cleveland.
Yeah.
So it's showing that he can actually handle this workload, at least in a game. Maybe, like you said, maybe not every night, but he's turning himself into a nice little two-way player. We've seen it a couple games now.
Against some of the best scorers in the league, some of the hardest guys to guard.
Yes, exactly.
That helps the team so much. That helps him so much. I mean, that's just huge. Yeah, I don't know if it'll happen all the time, but I don't think it has to happen all the time. Like in terms of guarding an opposing team's best player. But like against the Lakers, the best player I guess would be LeBron technically. I think Barnes usually guards LeBron.
Yeah, Barnes is usually given that task.
Yeah. So he might have, I guess, a quote unquote night off. I mean, maybe they'll put him on D'Angelo Russell or something, but
no, that's true.
Or at least kind of mix it up. But I mean, in that sense, just kind of throwing him in the mix of guys guarding guys, he could do that nightly and then kind of take on a heavier load every once in a while when a Steph Curry or a Donovan Mitchell does come to the building. So it just seems like one of those things that the Kings can really benefit from, and it's all the better that it's happening here in November. He talks a lot about being more aggressive this season. Obviously, that has a lot to do with his offense, and he's kind of noted, I think, after the game that he's trying to be more aggressive on defense and whatnot. And I just think that's so funny from Keegan Murray, just talking about aggression, because it's like when you listen to Keegan Murray talk, he's, says every other statement, every other sentence, he's shrugging his shoulders, and he just kind of, we just kind of go out there and try to do the right thing. And Mike, he just kind of got my back out there and all that stuff. And I'm shrugging as I say all that. And you just like, can this guy be aggressive? I mean, like his personality really doesn't say that he can. And it's just like,
yeah.
This guy just defies expectations. It's been a joy to watch from a basketball standpoint.
No, it's awesome. And I mean, I think we've talked about so much all, at least in the off season leading up to this season. It's like, all right, it's Keegan Murray's next step. The season depends on how much Murray's going to step up. And
Yeah, we called
I
it the
mean,
offseason of Keegan Murray.
yeah. And watching what he did, especially the last two games and what he's been doing on defense all year, it's really encouraging. It's like, oh, this is the guy. Like, if you can put up nights, I mean, like I said, it's not maybe realistic on a nightly basis, but I mean, if he can perform even like 75% of what he did against Cleveland on a nightly basis, I mean, the Kings are going to be in a really good spot.